Good. All right, good afternoon. As it is 5:30 p.m., I will call this City Council meeting of February 4th, 2025 to order. We acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the ancestral lands of the Coast Salish people and pay our respect to those past and present. Tonight's invocation will be led by Pastor Matthew Erikson, First Reformed Church. If we could all please stand for our invocation.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be here and to pray with you. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here today for this City Council meeting, we humbly seek your guidance and wisdom. We are grateful for the privilege to serve this beautiful community of Oak Harbor, and we ask for your presence to be with us in this room, guiding our hearts and minds to make decisions that reflect fairness, compassion, and justice. Grant each one of these council members clarity of thought, strength of purpose, and a spirit of unity. Help them to listen deeply to one another, valuing diverse perspectives and working together towards the common good. May their deliberations be infused with patience and respect, fostering an environment where ideas can be shared openly and respectfully. We also pray for the people of the great city of Oak Harbor. Bless our residents, our businesses, and all who call this city home. May they feel supported and heard as this council works to improve our community and meet their needs. In all that we do, let us be guided by integrity and a commitment to serving our fellow citizens. May this council's actions bring about positive change and reflect the values that unite us all. We offer this in prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Please remain standing and join us for the pledge of allegiance as the council members that lead. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This will be both a physical meeting and a virtual meeting. Some members of the city staff or consultants may be participating via teleconference. Today's meeting may be viewed on YouTube, Facebook, and following the meeting on cable channel 10 HD 1090. Everyone is present and accounted for with the exception of Councilmember Arms, who is asked to be excused. So I would entertain a motion to excuse Councilmember Arms from tonight's meeting. Yes.
Second.
Second, we have a motion to excuse Councilmember Arms by Councilmember Romero, seconded by Councilmember Wittgenstein. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any suggested changes to the regular agenda? As presented? All right, hearing none, we'll accept the agenda as presented. Moving on to citizen comment period. Citizens may comment on consent agenda items or subjects of interest not listed on the agenda at this time. Citizens will have the opportunity to comment on the remaining agenda items during the meeting as appropriate. Citizens can also visit our website prior to our meetings for methods to submit public comment or contact the city clerk, Julie Nestor, by phone or email. When submitting comments, please include your name and address. Public comments sent anonymously or from a false address will be shared with the mayor and council but will not be displayed. We received one new public comment since our last regular meeting. It is displayed here. All right, comment on public hearing items will be taken when those hearings are opened. And at this time, I would ask our city clerk, Julie Nestor, are there any members of the public present who wish to speak to items not listed on the agenda or on the consent agenda as signed up?
Mayor Rita Klein has signed up to speak. She did not give a subject.
Okay.
No, I hadn't had a chance to look at the agenda yet, so I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klein.
All right. Is there anyone else that's here with us this evening that would like to speak on an item that didn't have an opportunity to sign up that's not on the agenda? All right. Hearing none. We will move on to the consent agenda. We will now move to the consent agenda. Staff has presented the listed consent agenda items, all of which were included in the meeting packet. Are there any objections or changes to the consent agenda as presented? Hearing none, may I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, seconded by Councilmember Mero. Is there any further discussion before I call for a vote? All right, hearing none. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to mayor's comments. We're clicking right along here, guys. Bear with me. There's a lot to say again. Let's work together and support each other through change. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world today. I think that it is important that we come together as a community. I encourage everyone to focus on credible sources and take the time to research before participating in discussions or spreading rumors. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and stay united. Community catch-up. I was joined by the City Administrator Combs and Communications Officer Maggie Aguilar in kicking off our first community catch-up on January 28th at the Center. Oak Harbor Public Schools presented along with the Boys and Girls Club and our City Parks and Recreation Department. Save the date. Our next community catch-up will be with ICOM 911 Executive Director Sophia Cofield on February 25th at 6 p.m. Location is still to be determined. See our website for updates. Thank you to the Main Street Association for providing our community with fun events that draw folks downtown. The recent Winter Stroll event was attended by several council members and City Administrator Combs. Oak Harbor Parks and Recreation Annual Member Luncheon. Thank you to Recreation Manager Liz Lang for giving a great presentation at the annual member meeting and luncheon in conjunction with the Oak Harbor Senior Center Foundation. The focus is on our older adult programs, services, and membership with a goal of enhancing programs for members. Thank you to our entire Parks and Recreation team for all they do for our senior community all year round. Washington State Ferries online meetings. Washington State Ferries would very much, there you go, Stucky, there's my joke, like to have community members from throughout Puget Sound join its next pair of virtual meetings. Washington State Ferry leaders will answer questions from the public and provide the latest information on service restoration, building new ferries, electrification of new boats, and the legislative sessions. Participants will need to register before the online meeting scheduled for noon Wednesday, February 12th, and 6 p.m. on Thursday, February 13th. See Washington State Ferry's website to register. The Wright Blend, we had a great group at our first Wright Blend event. Please join us at our next informal coffee and conversation on Saturday, February 22nd at 10 a.m. at Whidbey Coffee on State Route 20 next to Wendy's. Christmas tree recycling. This week is your last chance to get your non-artificial tree outside next to your yard waste bin for your normal garbage day pickup. Last day is February 7th. And last but not least, we're hiring. Check our website to apply. And with that, I will turn it over to City Council at this time for their comments. Don't everyone speak at once? All right. Hearing none, we will move on to ordinances and resolutions. The first resolution is 2502, amending the City of Oak Harbor master fee schedule. Here to introduce that topic is Deputy City Administrator and Finance Director David Goldman.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, David Goldman. So this item is to amend the master fee schedule specifically for Schedule G, Parks and Recreation, and Addendum 2, Senior Services. This is a topic that we've discussed a few times at City Council meetings and City Council workshops. As a matter of fact, we discussed it last week at the January workshop. So to reiterate what's changing in the master fee schedule, we're incorporating Addendum 2 of Senior Services into Schedule G since Senior Services is now part of a unified Parks and Recreation Department. We updated park facility and field reservations to be by the hour. We included a staff usage billable rate, We included annual rates for on-site storage and monthly rates for use of the concession stands. We updated class and activity fees to reference activity guide, and we updated room rental rates. So with that, staff is available to field any questions you have, and we have a suggested motion on the screen.
All right, so before I call upon council, I will confirm with our city clerk, Julie Nestor, that we received no public comment on this issue.
That's correct, Mayor. No public comments were received.
Thank you, Julie. And at this time, I would request any additional public comments from those gathered here with us this afternoon. All right, hearing none, I will call upon oh, I'm sorry, step forward, please state your name and address.
Rita Klein, 2859 Taylor Road. Did the schedule regarding the ball fields, that section get resolved? Was that, I didn't see it mentioned on there.
So, David, I'm going to look to you and Councilmember Marshall because you two are the ones that met. And yeah, Brian too is here. So I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't see you over there.
So this was discussed at the workshop last week. We had input from council. We provided answers to their questions, and based on the consensus of council at the last meeting, I believe that the issues were resolved, and council was ready to go ahead and take a vote on this item. But of course, council is here right now to provide us additional feedback or have any questions. We're always here to answer your questions, so.
If I may, I think the comment was referring to a couple of clarification naming items. Some small things like specifying Fort Nugent concession stand rather than just concession stand. There's another one similar to that, but there are nuances that we can update as we do a budget amendment. The fee schedule itself doesn't change with those clarifications, and those can also be specified within the league agreements as well. Yeah, and Civic Rec as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Were there any other questions or comments at this time? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion. Well, I asked the public first. There was nothing else, so now I'm entertaining a motion from council, or going to council, sorry, yeah, questions, or, I'm sorry, I skipped over asking you questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
It doesn't matter what order we do it.
I'm sorry. Did you have a question, Councilmember Marshall?
I did, and it was relating to the same topic. I just would like to see us specify, whether it be in the league agreements or on the or in Parks and Rec, that it does specify what concession stands and what tournaments we're talking about for baseball. Other than that, I'm totally good with this and ready to move forward, so, yeah.
Okay, so, and then just to clarify, I think what Brian's saying too, though, I think we'll make those administrative changes as
Yeah.
far as how it's listed, but it
Yeah.
doesn't change the fees at all.
No,
so-
absolutely.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just making sure that it's clear for the leagues when they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I
Other
agree.
than that, I'm good. And-
Okay.
And we'll, if nobody else, I'll make a motion.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Okay. Move to adopt resolution 25-02, amending the Oak Harbor master fee schedule.
Second.
We have a motion as presented by Councilmember Marshall, seconded by Councilmember Wigginstein. Is there any further discussion before I call for a vote? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. So we're going to move on to Resolution 2504, supporting the Oak Harbor Public Schools Proposition Number 1, Renewal of Educational Programs and Operations Levy. Here to introduce that topic is our City Administrator, Sabrina Combs.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we received a request from Council to add this to the agenda as a resolution in support of the Oak Harbor Public Schools levy. So not a lot of discussion from our end, just making sure that that was on the agenda and it included a resolution as the item to address that.
Perfect. And have we received any public comment on this, Julie?
No, Mayor, no comments were received.
Great. Is there anyone here with us this afternoon that would like to make public comment on this issue? All right. So hearing no further comments from the public, I would call upon council for their questions and comments at this time. Yes, Councilmember Romero.
I just wanted to state that this is not an excessive levy, and I want to voice my strongest support for us as a group to pass a resolution in support of it.
Thank you. Anybody else want to make comment? Or yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Very quickly, I understand that the levy isn't necessarily city business, but I think that as a body, we have a responsibility to speak up when there is something in our community that has something that's going to be advantageous to the community at large. Just like we have our legislative priorities and we go to Olympia and we keep an eye on, the state legislation and things that might be in motion that might be of a detriment to the city, we have responsibility to speak up and say, we don't like that. That's going to have a negative impact. But because this is going to have, if it passes, an overall positive impact on the community at large, that's one of the reasons I think we have a responsibility to publicly endorse it. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, Councilmember Wiesner.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I'd just like to pipe in and as the guy who reminds everybody lots of times of the things that we should never forget because we can learn from history. There was a time when this community did not support these kind of levies. These are not levies to build new schools or buy new books. These are levies to maintain the current programs that we have. And there was a time that didn't happen, and I can remind people, we went to 5-period classes. We went to no hot lunch program in our schools. We went to no electives within our schools. Our children felt abandoned. Let's not do that again. Let's learn by the past and get behind this and support the kids in our community so that they can be the next leaders moving forward. Thank you.
And just to add on to what the council member said, one of the things I just want to encourage the community that we talked about at the community chat is do go back to the source to find more information out about these programs. The school district has done a lot of work to put that information on their website, so it's very helpful. I saw some conversations that were going on over the weekend because people were looking at their ballots, and one of the things we encourage is having these community conversations and chats with each other and learning so that we can help each other understand the true information of what's going on with different things in our community.
Thank you for that, Sabrina. Anything else from council? All right, hearing nothing, I would entertain a motion. Do we have a motion? Did you prepare one?
Mayor, that is my fault. I did not prepare a slide with the motion. The suggested motion would be to approve Resolution 2504, supporting the Oak Harbor Public Schools Proposition 1.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and make that. I move to approve Resolution 25-04, supporting the Oak Harbor Schools Proposition Number 1, Renewal of the Education Programs and Operations Levy.
All right, we have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem as presented to approve Resolution 2504, seconded by Councilmember Romero. Is there any further discussion before I call for a vote? All right, hearing none. All in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are cruising right along. We have a contract and agreement, Lynnwood Jail Interlocal Agreement. And here to introduce that topic tonight is not Chief Slowick, it is Captain Barton.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Captain Barton with the Police Department. So this is the Lynnwood Jail Interlocal Agreement for jail services. So a little bit of history behind that. So for the last 5 years or so, since 2020, the Police Department's been utilizing Island County and Skagit jails for our overnight in custody arrests, pending their preliminary court appearances. When those subjects are to be held in custody by the court, the city currently has a single contract for long-term overnight inmate housing, and that contract is with the SCORE Jail Facility in Des Moines, which is south of Seattle. So when looking at this, the police department has identified that entering into a new housing agreement with regional jails would be advantageous to us and the city. It'll allow us to add additional inmate housing by way of providing flexible housing options when facilities are at capacity. It also reduces our transit and staff time between Oak Harbor and the jail facilities. So when looking at comparisons between Lynnwood Jail and SCORE, they provide some different options for us. SCORE, we currently have a limited number of contracted bed space. They also are capable of housing our inmates that have high care needs such as medical and mental health. The Lynnwood Jail would be able to facility would be utilized as a pay per day at a lower cost for general inmate housing. So when looking at our funding, the police department budget's about $435,000 annually for jail services. We're looking at the fiscal impact of entering into the interlocal agreement with Lynnwood Jail. There would be no cost to maintain this agreement since all fees are paid per user. And we'll have you look at the motion.
All right, thank you for that. So I will confirm with Julie that we received no public comment on this matter.
That's correct, Mayor. No public comments were received.
And then I would call upon anyone that's with us here this evening. And do you have any public comment that you would like to step forward and make on this issue? All right, hearing none, I will call upon council for their questions and comments at this time. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Just a quick question, and I apologize if this is a stupid question, but what happens to the inmates that are currently housed with SCORE? Is everybody in custody because of us going to be moved, or are the people that are already incarcerated going to stay where they are, and then just new people are going to be in
So
Lynnwood?
there would be no change to our contract with SCORE.
Okay.
So SCORE is, we actually have a monthly pay contract with them for a certain number of bed space. But there are times where we run into the need for being able to house additional bodies, and we need a place to put them. But some of those people, sometimes when we reach that threshold, are some of the people that need higher care, like mental health or have some other health things that SCORE can provide. So we can take someone that is more of a general population inmate that doesn't need those care and be able to move them to another contract facility so that person can receive that care in that facility and we can utilize another one.
Gotcha, so this is in addition to, not in place of?
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right, good. Options are good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Wiesner.
Thank you. Yeah, and Captain Barton, just to clarify, this is just an option. It's just a tool in the toolbox. And I reading through this, it looks like your real intent is to use this for either A, times that we're over on the guaranteed beds down at SCORE and we don't have a special situation, or B, for maybe short-term holds. It's an extra $50 a night from the guaranteed beds, right? But obviously the extra time to drive from Lynnwood all the way down to Tacoma for transport offsets that, obviously if we've got somebody that's in for a day or two versus a month. Correct statements?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wiesner. Anybody else? Yes, Councilmember Romero.
Yes, I strongly support this motion. I do want to make the observation that long-term efficiency would benefit from not being so far distant from where we're booking these inmates in or whatever the jail services are. So that's just a matter for the record.
Thank you, Councilmember Romero. Anybody else for the good of the order? Hearing nothing, I would entertain a motion. Councilmember Romero, go ahead.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the interlocal agreement with the Lynnwood Jail for jail services.
Second.
We have a motion as presented by Councilmember Romero, seconded by Councilmember Marshall. Any further discussion? Marshall, any further discussion before I call for a vote? Sorry, tongue-tied. No further discussion. All right, I will then say all in favor, raise your right hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no other items for consideration. We have no reports and discussion. At this time, the council will take a short break and then move into an executive session. We have three different things. RCW 4230-110-1B to consider the selection of a site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase when public knowledge regarding such consideration would cause a likelihood of increased price. And per RCW 4230-110-1I, to discuss with legal counsel litigation or potential litigation. And per RCW 4230-110-1F, to receive and evaluate complaints or charges brought against a public officer or employee. So it is 5:55, and we are going to go excuse ourselves for 25 minutes. We will be back at 6:30. No, sorry, I'm not doing math very well. 6:20, thank you.
The council has announced that they will be extending the executive session for an additional 25 minutes to 6:45 PM. The council has announced an extension of the executive session for an additional 5 minutes to 6:50 PM. The council has announced an additional extension of the executive session for 10 more minutes to 7 p.m. The council has announced an additional extension of the executive session for 5 more minutes to 7:05. The council has announced an additional extension of the executive session for 5 more minutes to 7:10 p.m.
All right, so we have come out of executive session, and there will be no action taken at this time. Therefore, there being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Adjourned at 7:10.